Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, who rhymes with now or later, just like the candy. Your host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, Queens, New York native, who's also a fan of three New York teams: the Giants, the Knicks, aka Knicks at 5, and the New York Mets, from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you are now rocking with me by listening and tuning in and watching the 164th episode of the entertainment review show Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube and in the comfort of my room where I do my podcast recordings. This is the place where I actually go over what's going on in music news and sometimes the music the music discographies. In other words, the bodies of work of albums, mixtapes, EPs, LPs, you just name it, and alongside with some with going over the old and the new when it comes to TV shows, movies, and video games. And one of the video game topics I will be touching on is the massive layoff situation with Electronic Arts. All right. And yes, if you missed any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to go ahead and check them out on YouTube, especially do me a favor and go ahead and click on that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page of Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, and leave a like and a comment alongside with your thoughts on the topics of each episode, including this one. All right. And don't forget to also click on the notification alerts so you'll be notified when I'll be on the air live with more new topics and more live streams of each podcast episode. All right. I hope y'all had a great weekend despite the crazy weather of the flash flooding. I know there was a little bit of craziness with the subway stations, the streets of Queens, Brooklyn, and everywhere else with all the flooding, businesses being affected, even the tornado that hit Atlantic Beach. I hope everyone over there is all right despite the damages. And I know some of the businesses might be affected too, so hopefully it'll take some time to recover. All right. Now that I got that out the way, what do you say we go on to a first segment, which is Music Kool-Aid. And Music Kool-Aid is a segment where I actually go what's going on in the news of hip hop and pop culture and whatnot. So let's get into it right here, right now. All right, let's do this. All right, some music news we got to talk about here. Let's see. let's see. Okay, hold on a second. All right, let's go with this. In the 5 decades since DJ Kool Herc wild no, excuse me, willed hip hop into existence back in 1973. Um, Giving back to the community has been one of those things that has remained intact as a primary focus of the culture. Primary focus of the culture. Okay. And doing good, doing good for the hood is something that is ingrained within hip hop's fabric. A highly regarded form of this recognition is when rappers are presented with a key to the city. The centuries long tradition not only signifies that the recipient of a key to the city has provided a great benefit to a certain community as a whole, according to Double XL Mag. It also serves as a direct implication that a rapper is universally beloved by the places they call home. Major cities all over the country have bestowed keys to the city upon some of hip hop's major figures through the years. Artists like Double DG beamed with pride when his hometown of Pont- wait, Pontiac, Michigan honored him with a key in April of 2026 this year. The popular rapper turned streamer was honored for giving back and representing his hometown all over the world through his streaming platform and music. Back in June of 2023, Drake was presented with Toronto's key to the city. The OVO leader described the honor by by his home city as one of the greatest moments of his life. Meanwhile, in June of 2016, the city of Compton blessed Kendrick Lamar with the time honored award, touting the hometown MC as a phenomenal artist whose work has served as a catalyst to raise a new level of consciousness for his generation. Um, with all that in mind, of course, Double XL highlights the many instances in which rappers and other hip hop notables um, have been presented with a key to the city. So let's take a look at some of the music artists that got the key to the city. Of course, obviously, Kendrick Lamar is one. Drake is one. So you have Nicki Minaj, Fetty Wap, Little Kim, Foxy Brown, Dr. Dre, Fabulous, Public Enemy, Master P, Ludacris, Kevin Liles, Bun B, Mr. FAB, 50 Cent, David Banner, um, Diddy, who's now in prison right now, 3 6 Mafia, Mac Miller, the late great Mac Miller, Yo Gotti, Pitbull, Rod Digger, Rick Ross, the Boss, Birdman, and the late great Slim. Let's see, and T Pain from Tallahassee, Florida, Kodak Black, Flo Rida, Currency, Double DG, Shine, Snoop Dogg, and Bigger Rankin. All right. So these are the artists that actually got the keys to the city. All right. That's pretty dope though. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything going on for music. Let's see. Um let's see if there's anything going on. Let me see. All right, let's see. Let's take a look here and see if I can find something to talk about. Oh, oh shit. Let me see. Okay. Here's another person that wasn't on the list of having a key to the city. Jeezy, coining the hip hop vibe. Jeezy's Las Vegas residency ended its first leg on a major note Saturday night as LeBron James was in attendance to support the Atlanta rap legend. The NBA superstar pulled up to PH Live at Planet Hollywood for the final scheduled performance of Jeezy's first run of shows in Las Vegas. His performance added another major celebrity moment to a residency that has already featured special guests, including Yo Gotti and Bun B. However, LeBron's presence wasn't simply about watching Jeezy perform. During the special night, LeBron presented Jeezy with the key to Las Vegas. The memorable gesture gave the Atlanta rapper an unforgettable way to close out the first leg of his residency. The moment was especially fitting considering the unique nature of Jeezy's Las Vegas run. Since launching in May, the residency has transformed PH, which is Planet Hollywood, live into a celebration of the rapper's career, combining his signature trap anthems with a black tie atmosphere and a massive live orchestra. Saturday night's performance was originally scheduled to be the final show of the first leg. Instead, Jeezy later revealed that the residency will return for 9 additional dates beginning in November. That's good news right there. Um, LeBron James supports Jeezy in Las Vegas. LeBron's appearance appearance immediately gave the final show another layer of significance. The NBA superstar has long been one of the greatest athletes connected to hip hop culture. Throughout his career, LeBron has consistently shown appreciation for rap music and has maintained relationships with many of the genre's biggest artists. His support for Jeezy made Saturday night's performance an even bigger celebration. Having LeBron attend the final show was already a major moment. Presenting Jeezy with a key to Las Vegas took the night to another level. The gesture recognized Jeezy's impact during his residency and served as a memorable way to close the first portion of the Las Vegas experience. For Jeezy, the moment also represented how far his career has taken him. The Atlanta rapper emerged as one of the defining voices of trap music during the 2000s. His 2005 major label debut, Let's Get It, Thug Motivation 101, helped establish him as a major force in Southern hip hop. More than 2 decades later, Jeezy is celebrating that legacy in Las Vegas with a residency built around the music that made him a household name. The Snowman takes over Las Vegas. Jeezy's residency originally began in May, with performances continuing throughout the summer. The first leg included shows in May, June, July, August, culminating with the August 22nd performance at Planet Hollywood Live. That's what PH stands for, in case anybody didn't know. Throughout the residency, Jeezy has performed a career-spanning selection of records that helped establish him as one of Atlanta's most influential artists. His catalog features songs such as Soul Survivor, Put On, My President, Go Crazy, I Love It, and and then and then what? And Lose My Mind. Those records give Jeezy plenty of material to work with, but the Las Vegas residency has also separated itself from a typical rap concert through its presentation. The shows have followed a black tie theme, giving fans an opportunity to experience Jeezy's trap classics in a more elegant setting. That concept has helped turn the residency into an experience rather than another concert stop. Jeezy's trap anthems get an orchestral makeover. One of the most unique elements of the residency has been the color of noise orchestra. Jeezy's trap anthems have been reimagined with the 101 piece orchestra composed and conducted by Derek Hodge with music director Adam Blackstone. The 101 member Color of Noise Orchestra also holds the Guinness World Record for the largest orchestra at a hip hop concert. The orchestral presentation was originally inspired by Jeezy's debut album Thug Motivation 101, making the concept a natural celebration of the project that helped launch his career. Instead of simply performing his classic songs exactly as they sounded on their original recordings, Jeezy has been able to give them an entirely new life on the Las Vegas stage. The orchestra adds live, hold on. The orchestra adds live instrumentation to records that help define the South of Atlanta trap, while the black tie atmosphere gives the performances a different visual identity. That combination has made the residency feel more like a major event than a traditional hip hop show. Special guests have joined Jeezy. LeBron's appearance also became the latest memorable guest moment connected to Jeezy's Las Vegas residency. Yo Gotti and Bun B have previously joined Jeezy during the run, giving fans opportunities to see multiple generations of Southern hip hop represented on the same stage. Those appearances have helped reinforce the residency's larger theme of celebrating Jeezy's influence and the culture surrounding the music that helped make him one of Atlanta's most important rap figures. Um, the addition of LeBron to the final night's audience made the closing performance even more notable. Then came the key to Las Vegas. The presentation gave Jeezy a special recognition as he wrapped up the first chapter of his residency. The residency isn't actually over. While Saturday night marked the conclusion of the first leg, Jeezy's Las Vegas run isn't finished. On Sunday, the rapper announced 9 additional shows for the residency. The next leg begins November the 6th. Mark your calendars, and will continue through November before returning for a major December stretch. The newly announced run will ultimately conclude with a New Year's Eve performance on December 31st. The announcement came only one day after fans watched Jeezy close out what appeared to be the final performance of the residency. Now, the Black Tie Affair will return for another series of shows. The extension gives fans who attended the first leg another chance to experience the production, while those who missed it will have additional opportunities to see Jeezy perform his catalog alongside the Color of Noise Orchestra. A memorable night for Jeezy. The August 22nd show was already an important milestone. The final night of the leg brought together everything that has made the residency unique: his trap classics, the black tie atmosphere, the massive orchestra, and a crowd filled with fans celebrating his legacy. Then LeBron James showed up. The NBA icon's presence added another major name to an already memorable night. But the presentation of the key to Las Vegas made the moment particularly significant. Jeezy has spent more than 2 decades building a career that stretches from Atlanta's trap scene to major stages around the world. His influence has extended beyond music, helping establish a sound and culture that continue to influence hip hop today. The Las Vegas residency gives him an opportunity to reflect on that legacy while presenting his music in entirely new format. With LeBron James in attendance and presenting him with the key to Las Vegas, the first leg ended on a high note. The celebration also showed just how much the residency has shown since beginning in May. What started as a series of Las Vegas performances has developed into a major production centered around Jeezy's catalog, his trap legacy, and an unprecedented orchestral presentation. And while Saturday night looked like the ending, Jeezy quickly proved otherwise. The Snowman is coming back. His next Las Vegas performances begin November 6th. Mark your calendars, with the residency now scheduled to continue through um, New Year's Eve. After LeBron helped Jeezy close the first chapter with the key to Las Vegas, the Atlanta legend has 9 more opportunities to make his mark on the city before 2026 comes to an end. All right, I want to make some noise for the rappers who got the keys to the city, including Jeezy and his Las Vegas residency. Today's episode, we're going to be going over Captain America Marvel movie franchises, which includes the movies that already came out, and of course the TV portion of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I want to start off with the movies first. Actually, let me see. I want to start off with the movies first, and we are going to go to. Hold on. Yeah, I want to go to. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. Uh-oh. Okay, we're going to go to our next segment, which is the movie Man Cave Popcorn Lounge. All right, let's do this. let's start off with hold on, let's start off with Captain America First Adventure, shall we? So, Captain America The First Adventure is a 2011 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Paramount Pictures. It is the fifth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film was directed by Joe Johnston, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, alongside Tommy Lee Jones, Hugo Weaving, Haley Atwell, Sebastian Stan, Dominic Cooper, Toby Jones, Neil McDonough, Derek Luke, and Stanley Tucci. During World War II, Rogers, a frail man, is transformed into the super soldier Captain America and must stop the Red Skull from using the, the Tesseract as an energy source for world domination. So there you go, right there. And of course, let me see. So yeah, the budget for this film was between 140 to $216.7 million. The film began as a concept in 1997 and was scheduled for distribution by Artisan Entertainment. However, a lawsuit disrupted the project and was not settled until September 2003. In 2005, Marvel Studios received a loan from Merrill Lynch and planned to finance and release the film through Paramount Pictures. Directors Jon Favreau and Louis uh, Leterrier were interested in directing the project before Johnston was approached in 2008. The principal characters were cast between March and June 2010. Production began in June and filming took place in London, Manchester, um, Caerwent, Liverpool, and Los Angeles. Several different techniques were used by the visual effects company Lola to create the physical appearance of the character before he becomes Captain America. Shit. That was a great movie, man. Captain America, the First Avenger, premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles on July 19, 2011, and was released in the United States on July 22nd as part of Phase 1 of the MCU. The film was commercially successful, grossing over $370 million worldwide, and received positive reviews from critics who praised Evans' performance, the film's depiction of its 1940s time period, and Johnston's direction. The two direct sequels have been released, which includes Captain America: The Winter Soldier, I'll get to next, followed by Captain America: Civil War. All right. Yeah, let me see. So let's get to all right, let's talk about the marketing. Okay, so at the 2010 San Diego Comic-Con, some footage that had been shot in the previous week was shown at the San Diego Convention Center. The first television advertisement aired during Super Bowl what year was this? Hold on 1 second. I need to look something up real quick. Hold on 1 second. So 45. It was Super Bowl 45. Okay, got it. Yes, Super Bowl 45 on the Fox network in the United States. Paramount paid $3 million to run the 30-second advertisement. The full trailer was released in March 2011. In May 2011, the USO girls from the film performed aboard the U the USS Intrepid at the Intrepid Sea Air Space Museum as a part of the 2011 Fleet Week celebration in New York City. In June 2011, Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin-Robbins teamed with Marvel to search for real-life super soldiers. The contest sought nominations for veterans or active U.S. service persons making a difference where they live or serve. In July 2011, Paramount Pictures promoted the film during an Independence Day celebration hosted by the Chicago White Sox. Promotional partners include Harley Davidson, Dunkin' Donuts, and Baskin Robbins. In February 2011, Marvel Comics launched the 8-issue digital comic Captain America: First Vengeance on the same day as the first trailer aired. Written by Fred Van Lente and featuring a rotation of artists, the story is set in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Each of the 8 issues focuses on a specific number, a specific character from the movie, heroes and villains alike, and what brought them to the point where the movie begins. Sega announced a video game tie-in titled Captain America Super Soldier that was released on July 19, 2011 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Wii, and Nintendo DS. Marvel released the mobile game Captain America Sentinel of Liberty in July 2011. A toy line was released as well. All right, now we go to the reception. How it did in the box office. Captain America: The First Avenger earned $176.7 million in North America and $193.9 million internationally for a worldwide total of $370.6 million. Um, yes, Captain America: The First Avenger opened on July 22nd in the United States and earned $4 million in midnight showings, outgrossing other 2011 original superhero films like Thor and Green Lantern, as well as the prequel X-Men First Class, which all made between $3.25 million and $3.5 million in Friday midnights. On Friday, the film opened at the number one spot at the American and Canadian box office with $25.7 million. It then went on to make $65.1 million in what was the second highest grossing opening weekend for a superhero film in 2011, behind Thor, $65.7 million. At the time of its release, Captain America: The First Avenger became the third highest grossing motion picture set during the World War II era, after Saving Private Ryan and Pearl Harbor. All right, critical response. The review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 80% with an average score of 7 out of 10 based on 274 reviews. The website's consensus reads, with plenty of pulpy action, a pleasantly retro vibe, and a handful of fine performances, Captain America is solidly old-fashioned blockbuster entertainment. Metacritic, which assigns a weighted average score, rated the film 66 out of 100 based on 43 reviews from critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to F scale. Roger Moore of the Orlando Sentinel gave Captain America: The First Avenger a positive review, saying Johnston has delivered a light, clever, and deftly balanced adventure picture with real lump in the throat nostalgia, with Nazis who make the best villain. Excuse me, Nazis who make the best villains, and with loving references to Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times remarked, in quote, "I enjoyed the movie. I appreciated the 1940s period settings and costumes, which were a break with the usual generic cityscapes." All right. I admired the way that director Joe Johnston prepared the narrative. I got a sense of a broad story rather than the impression of a series of sensational set pieces. If Marvel is wise, it will take this and Iron Man as its templates. A.O. Scott of the New York Times declared it pretty good fun. Yeah. Karina Longworth of The Village Voice gave the film a negative review, calling it a hokey hacky 2 hour plus exercise in franchise transition, price gouging, complete with utterly unnecessary post coveted 3D. Peter DeBruge of Variety said Captain America: First Avenger plays like a by the numbers prequel for Marvel Studios' forthcoming The Avengers movie. Kirk Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter had mixed feelings about the film, writing, "As the last Marvel prequel that includes 2 Iron Man and Incredible Hulk movies before next summer's The Avengers, this one feels perhaps a little too simplistic and routine." What the fuck do you mean by that, man? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me, man? One of the best successful comic book movies of Marvel Comics has made the amount of money back and did well in the box office. Let me tell you something. Man. Some of these film critics are really full of shit, though. All right, and I always say this. On this podcast, as always, though, man. Yes, you're entitled to your opinion, but don't let these fucking critics discourage you. And in terms of how you tell a story of a film, because there's one thing that movies, TV shows, gaming, and everything, and music, and everything else in between only have one thing in common. It's fucking art. You know what I'm saying? It's really fucking art, man. It's not that hard. Like, seriously. And it's crazy how one critic actually did the same shit, try to bash that Michael biopic. Like, really. You can't please everybody, man. No matter what you try to do, please yourself, man. All right, let's go over the awards being nominated and won and all that other stuff. So starting with the Teen Choice Awards, Captain America: First Avenger got a nomination for Choice Summer Movie. Chris Evans got a nomination for Choice Summer Movie Star Male. Captain America: The First Avenger The Ultimate Scream, Captain America: The First Avenger got a nomination for the Best Science Fiction Movie. Haley Atwell got a nomination for Best Science Fiction Actress. Chris Evans also got a nomination for Best Science Fiction Actor. Hugo Weaving as Red Skull got a nomination for Best Villain. Chris Evans as Captain America, he won for Best Superhero for the Scream Awards. Tommy Lee Jones, um, a legend, a legendary actor, got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Haley Atwell got a nomination for Breakout Performance Female. Final Battle, Captain America versus Red Skull got a nomination for Fight Scene of the Year. Captain America: The First Avenger got a nomination for Best 3D Movie, and of course, it got a nomination for Best Comic Book Movie. Okay, now we go to the BMI Film and TV Awards. Alan Silvestri won for Film Music Award. And the People Choice Awards, Chris Evans got a nomination for favorite movie superhero, to be exact. Excuse me. Visual Effects Society Awards, Charlie Noble, Mark Soper, Christopher Townsend, and Edson Williams got a nomination for Outstanding Visual Effects in a Visual Effects Driven Feature Motion Picture. Casey Allen, Trent Claus, Brian Hayjack, and Welsh. Cliff Welsh won for Outstanding Compositing in a Feature Motion Picture. The Empire Awards for Captain America: The First Avenger got a nomination for Best Sci-Fi Fantasy. MTV Movie Awards, Captain America got a nomination for Best Hero. Saturn Awards on Captain America: First Avenger got a nomination for Best Science Fiction Film. Chris Evans got a nomination for Best Actor. Stanley Tucci got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Alan Silvestri got a nomination for Best Music. Rich Heinrich got a nomination for Best Production Design, Best Costume. Ann B. Shepard got a nomination for Best Costume, and of course Mark Soper, Christopher Townsend, Paul Corbild got a nomination for Best Special Effects. All right, the next one I want to actually do. Hold on a second. The next Captain America movie I want to do is a second here. Yes, Captain America Winter Soldier. I'm going to do that right now. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a 2014 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the sequel to Captain America: The First Avenger and the ninth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is the MCU. The film was directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, from a screenplay by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely. It stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, alongside Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Kobe Smulders, Frank Grillo, Emily Van Camp, Haley Atwell, Toby Jones, Jenny Agutter, Robert Redford, the late great Robert Redford, and Samuel Jackson. In the film, Natasha Romanoff, played by Johansson, and Sam Wilson, played by Mackie, undercover a conspiracy with the spy agency SHIELD while facing the Winter Soldier, Stan, a mysterious assassin. Let's see. All right, so let's see. So the budget for this movie is between 170 to 177 million dollars. Marcus and McFeely began writing the sequel around the release of the first Avenger in July 2011. The script draws from the Winter Soldier story arc in the comic books written by Ed Brubaker, as well as conspiracy fiction from the 1970s, such as the film 3 Days of the Condor in 1975. The Winter Soldier explores S.H.I.E.L.D. in a similar way to how the first film explored the U.S. military after Rogers was shown working for S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU crossover film, The Avengers. The Russo brothers signed on to direct in June 2012, and casting began the following month. They wanted the film to be a political thriller that focused on um, topical areas such as drone warfare, targeted killing, and global surveillance. Excuse me. Filming began in April 2013 in Los Angeles, California, before moving to Washington, D.C. and Cleveland, Ohio, though the directors prioritized practical effects and intense stunt work to differentiate from previous Captain America portrayals. Visual effects were created by 6 companies for 2,500 shots, including the climactic helicarrier sequence. Captain America The Winter Soldier premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles on March 13, 2014, and it was released in the United States on April 4th as part of Phase 2 of the MCU. The film received positive reviews from critics with praise for the performances, action sequences, storyline, and themes. It grossed $714 million, making it the seventh highest grossing film of 2014, and received several accolades, including a nomination for Best Visual Effects at the 87th, Academy Awards. A sequel titled Captain America Civil War, also directed by the Russos, was released in 2016. All right, let's go to the marketing. In July 2013, Marvel Studios released a teaser poster depicting a damaged and discolored Captain America shield. The Los Angeles Times said the image suggests that Captain America might see some serious battle in the sequel, while Rolling Stone said the image hints at darker themes in the sequel. Later that month, Marvel Studios head and producer Kevin Feige, director Joe and Anthony Russo, and cast members Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel Jackson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Kobe Smulders, Emily Van Camp, and Frank Grillo held a panel at the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con and presented footage from the film. In addition, Marvel had booths depicting a Smithsonian-type exhibit showing Captain America and the howling commandos from Captain America, the First Avenger. At the end of the month, audiences were shown a glimpse of the film, along with some of Marvel's other Phase 2 slate of films at Disney XD's Disney Fandom event. In August 2013, Feige, Evans, Stan, and Mackie presented a clip of the film at Disney's D23 Expo. In September 2013, Marvel announced that it is again partnering with Harley Davidson, continuing their relationship from Captain America the First Avenger, with Captain America riding the company's soft-tail breakout motorcycle in the film. In October 2013, Marvel released the first trailer for Captain America the Winter Soldier. The Hollywood Reporter said it looks like it'll live up to the political thriller that's been promised for months now. Los Angeles Times said the trailer runs 2.5 minutes and teases plenty of action, conspiracy, and clever banter between Captain America and his S.H.I.E.L.D. colleagues, with a smattering of the previously released Comic-Con International and D23 footage. Los Angeles Times also noted that the day before the release of the trailer, the studio released a teaser for a trailer. The trailer received 23.5 million views in the 24 hours after its release. In November 2013, Jed Whedon, the co-creator of the television series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., said that there were plans to reference events from the film into the show, stating Nick Fury is in Captain America Winter Soldier and S.H.I.E.L.D. makes an appearance. So we will definitely try to tee up some stuff and probably play a little bit of the fallout from that film. In January 2014, Disney announced that in honor of the film, Captain America would be making appearances at Disneyland. The meet and greet experience opened March 7, 2014, and is called Captain America, the Living Legend and Symbol of Courage, located at Innovations in Tomorrowland. Also in January, Marvel Comics released a prelude digital comic titled Marvel's Captain America, the Winter Soldier Infinite Comic, written by Peter David, with art by Rock Hee Kim. The comic sees the return of the Zodiac, the mysterious weapon first seen in the one-shot Agent Carter 2013, which has fallen into the wrong hands. Captain America, Black Widow, and Rumlow must track the weapon down and put it back in S.H.I.E.L.D. protection. The first televised advertisement for Captain America, the Winter Soldier aired during Super Bowl. Oh boy, Super Bowl. Hold on one second, folks. I gotta look this up again. Hold on. X. Okay. Super Bowl 48. Yes, Super Bowl 48 on February 2nd, 2014. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Disney paid over $4 million per 30-second spot. The Los Angeles Times said, in quote, the clip promoting the April 4th release had a recognizably melancholy tone as Chris Evans's patriotic hero grapples with the moral ambiguities of the modern age. Also in February, Gameloft announced that a mobile video game titled Captain America the Winter Soldier, the official game, would be released in conjunction with the release of the film in late March 2014 for iOS and Android platforms. A few days later, General Motors announced that Chevrolet partnered with Marvel Entertainment and provided a specially designed Corvette Stingray C7 for use by the Black Widow in the film. The vehicle debuted at the 2014 Chicago Auto Show, where fans received limited edition Captain America comic books. Evans was named the Grand Marshal of the 2014 Daytona 500 to promote the film's release. Later in the month, a 30-second television spot received a lot of attention on social media for a line featured in the clip. The line, which was said by Captain America, suggests that Nick Fury would die in the film. The Hollywood Reporter noted that it all seemed a bit too obvious, noting the fact that Jackson, who plays Fury, would be reprising the role in Avengers Age of Ultron, although pointing out that it would it could be a post-mortem flashback appearance. In March 2014, Marvel released the Captain America Experience app that allowed fans to capture a picture of themselves with Captain America and let them share it on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, using specific hashtags to unlock 10 early screenings of the film across the United States, which took place on March 20th. On March 18th, ABC aired a 1-hour television special titled Marvel Studios Assembling a Universe, which included a sneak peek of Captain America the Winter Soldier. On April 1st, 2014, Evans and Stan rang the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange in honor of the film's theatrical release. Jackson appeared in advertisements for Sky Broadband. All right, let's get to the reception. Let's see. How did Captain America the Winter Soldier do in the box office, you ask? It earned $259.8 million in North America and $454.7 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $714.4 million. It became the fifth highest grossing film of 2014 worldwide. Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as $166.2 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs. Box office grosses and home media revenues placed it in ninth on their list of 2014's most valuable blockbusters. Captain America the Winter Soldier made $10.2 million in Thursday night showings, more than double the midnight gross of its predecessor. It surpassed Fast Five to set an April single day, $36.9 million, and April opening weekend record $95.0 million, while its opening weekend was a 46% increase over its predecessor. The film held the number one spot at the box office for 3 consecutive weekends. For 3, I'm not kidding, for 3 consecutive weekends before being overtaken by The Other Woman in its 4th weekend. It achieved the largest total gross among films released in the month of April. In June 2014, it surpassed the Lego Movie to become the highest grossing film of the year. At the end of its theatrical run, the film became the 4th highest grossing film of 2014, behind American Sniper, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Captain America the Winter Soldier topped the box office on its opening weekend with $75.2 million from 32 overseas markets. The film debuted at number 1 in many territories, including Australia, China, and Russia, and set a 3-day opening weekend record in China among Disney films with $38.81 million. It topped the box office outside North America on 2 consecutive weekends, followed by 2 weeks in second behind Rio 2. Critical response to review aggregated Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 90% with an average score of 7.7 out of 10 based on 311 reviews. The website critics consensus reads suspenseful and politically astute. Captain America The Winter Soldier is a superior entry in the Avengers canon and is sure to thrill Marvel diehards. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned a score of 70 out of 100 based on 48 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Cinema Score audiences gave Captain America The Winter Soldier an A grade rating on an A+ to F scale. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter said the film takes the bold step of reducing CGI spectacle to a relative minimum in favor of reviving the pleasures of hard-driving old-school action, surprising character development and intriguing suspense. Scott Fondas of Variety said, "It is chock full of the breathless cliffhangers dictated by the genre, but equally rich in the quiet, tender character moments that made the first film, unique among recent Marvel fare." Richard Robo of the Chicago Sun-Times considered it another rock-solid chapter in the big screen story of Marvel, though he compared it unfavorably to the Avengers, Iron Man, and Iron Man 3. Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly noted the 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 topicality of the film and compared it to The Dark Knight. Ty Burr of the Boston Globe said the film delivers all the 3D CGI mayhem audiences have come to expect from the Marvel Entertainment juggernaut, but there's darkness and confusion just under its comic book surface. Joel Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal praised the film's emotional bandwidth and nuances and felt it fixed all the shortcomings of the first Avenger, and then some. Why are we comparing this movie to other movies like the Avengers and whatnot? They're and the Dark Knight, Iron Man and Iron Man 3, those are different movies. They're not the same. They're different storylines. Come on, man. This is fucking insane with these fucking critics. Conversely, Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times characterized the film with a lack of inspiration. Manola Dargis of the New York Times said, like many others of its type, Captain America The Winter Soldier gets off to a kinetic start only to lose steam before blowing everything up. Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph expressed disappointment with the lack of risk taken by the film compared to its relatively spicy premise. Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle felt the film was too long with unexciting and eligible action scenes. Joe Williams of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch felt the Winter Soldier didn't explore the issues it raised and paled in comparison to the first Avenger. Jake Coyle of the Associated Press said the film's biggest misstep was the handling of Stan's Winter Soldier, and it was getting difficult to tell the Marvel movies apart. Several critics have drawn comparison between the Winter Soldier and the Metal Gear Solid video games. Game Ranks compared the film to Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, stating that the first half of The Winter Soldier feels like probably the closest movie adaptation we've gotten to Metal Gear Solid 2, with similar elements including the stealth, an evil group CQC, and even the moral dilemma about sacrificing one's personal liberties for the feeling of security. Entertainment Weekly noted that the film's opening tanker mission was rendered as a Metal Gear Solid stealth mission. I for Film also said the opening sequence will no doubt be familiar to anyone who's ever played Metal Gear Solid 2. Shit. All right, now to the Golden Trailer Awards. Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Best Action, and it won for Best TV. It won for Best Action TV Spot. Um, Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Best Music TV Spot. Now to the Teen Choice Awards. Captain America got a nomination for Choice Movie Sci-Fi Fantasy, followed by Chris Evans with Choice Movie Actor Sci-Fi Fantasy, Scarlett Johansson, Choice Movie Actress Sci-Fi Fantasy. And of course, Chris Evans and Anthony Mackie got a nomination for Choice Movie Chemistry. Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson both got a nomination for Choice Movie Lip Lock. Anthony Mackie got a nomination for Choice Movie Scene Stealer. Now we go to the Young Hollywood Awards. Chris Evans got a nomination for superhero. Captain America: The Winter Soldier won for the Joe Barber Award for Best Portrayal of Washington, D.C. for Washington, D.C. Film Critics Awards. Critics' Choice Movie Awards. Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Best Action Movie. Chris Evans got a nomination for Best Actor in Action Movie. Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Favorite Movie, and this is all part of the People's Choice Awards. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Movie Actress. Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Movie Duo. Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Favorite Action Movie. Chris Evans won for Favorite Action Movie Actor. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Action Movie Actress. Now to the Academy Awards. Dan DeLeo, Russell Earl, Brian Grill, and Dan Sudik got a nomination for Best Visual Effects. Now to Art Directors Guild Awards. Peter Wenham got a nomination for Best Production Design for a Fantasy Film. The Kids' Choice Awards, Scarlett Johansson alongside with Chris Evans, they both got a nomination for Favorite Female Action Star and Favorite Male Action Star. The Saturn Awards, Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Best Comic to Film Motion Picture. Joe Russo and Anthony Russo got a nomination for Best Director. Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely got a nomination for Best Writing. Chris Evans got a nomination for Best Actor alongside with Anthony Mackie and Samuel Jackson for Best Supporting Actor. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Henry Jackman got a nomination for Best Music. Jeffrey Ford and Matthew Schmidt got a nomination for Best Editing. And Peter Wenham got a nomination for Best Production Design. Dan DeLeo, Russell Earl, Brian Grill, and Dan Sudik got a nomination for Best Special Effects. Now we go to the Visual Effects Society Awards. All right, so you have Johan or Johan, however you pronounce it, Thorngren, Greg Kegel, Quentin Marmire, Luis Calero Tris for Triskelion for they got a nomination for Outstanding Creative Environment in a photoreal live action feature motion picture. Dan Pearson, Sheldon Sorrell, Jose Burgos, Eric Jennings for Helicarrier Broadside and Crash got a nomination for Outstanding Effects Simulations in a Photoreal Live Action Feature Motion Picture. Let's see. Empire Awards. Captain America: The Winter Soldier got a nomination for Best Thriller. MTV Movie Awards. Chris Evans versus Sebastian Stan got a nomination for Best Fight. Scarlett Johansson and Chris Evans got a nomination for Best Kiss. And Makeup Artist and Hairstylist Guild Awards. Alan Apone, Nicole 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 Sortillin, and Lisa Rocco got a nomination for Best Contemporary Makeup. The next movie I want to do. Hang on 1 second here. So the next movie is going to be. Hang on 1 second here. So the next movie is Captain America: Civil War. All right. Captain America: Civil War is a 2016 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the sequel to Captain America: The First Avenger and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, 2011 and 2014, and the 13th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film was directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe Russo, from a screenplay by the writing team of Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, alongside an assembled cast including Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, the late great Chadwick Boseman, Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Rudd, Emily Van Camp, Marissa Tomei, Tom Holland, Frank Grillo, Martin Freeman, William Hurt, and Daniel Bruhl. In Captain America: Civil War, disagreement over international oversight of the Avengers fractures the team into two opposing factions, one led by Steve Rogers and the other by Tony Stark. Damn. All right, so the budget for this movie was $250 million. The development of Civil War began in late 2013 when Marcus and McFeely began writing the screenplay, which borrows concepts from the 2006 comic book storyline Civil War, while also focusing on story and character elements from the previous Captain America films to conclude the trilogy. Following positive reactions to The Winter Soldier, the Russo brothers were brought back to direct in early 2014. The film's title and premise were revealed in October 2014, along with Downey's involvement as Stark. Additional cast members joined in the following months. Principal photography began in April 2015 at Pinewood Atlanta Studios in Fayette County, Georgia. It continued in the Metro Atlanta area before concluding in Germany in August 2015, with the film being the first to use IMAX's digital 2D cameras for the film's central airport fight sequence. Visual effects were provided by nearly 20 different studios. Captain America Civil War held its world premiere at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles on April 12, 2016, and was released in the United States on May 6th as as the first film in phase 3 of the MCU. The film was a commercial success, grossing over $1.1 billion worldwide, becoming the highest grossing film of 2016 and received positive reviews from critics with praise for the performances, action sequences, and themes. A fourth film, Captain America Brave New World, is a continuation of Marvel Studios' Disney Plus series, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, following Mackie's Sam Wilson as Captain America. Hold on. All right, let's go to the marketing. All right, so in early July 2015, Marvel began a viral marketing campaign for Ant-Man featuring Leslie Bibb, reprising her role from the Iron Man films as journalist Christine Everhart, reporting for the Faux News Network, WHIH News Front. In one program, Everhart discusses events leading to Captain America Civil War. The post-credits scene for Ant-Man featured footage shot by the Russo brothers for Captain America Civil War, showing Wilson and Rogers with Barnes in their custody and unable to contact Stark because of the Accords. Wilson mentions that he knows a guy, implying Lang. Feige explained that when the post-credit sequence appears in Civil War, it may appear with different takes, different angles. Stan said the scene was not in early May 2015 and would appear in the middle of Civil War. The first footage of the film debuted in August 2015 at the D23 Expo. Additional footage was shown in September 2015 at the Asia Pop Comic Convention. The footage shown at the D23 Expo and 2015 Asia Pop Comic Convention received an overwhelmingly positive response from the audiences. The first trailer for the film debuted on Jimmy Kimmel Live on November 25th, 2015, and within hours became the number one trending topic on X, formerly Twitter. The trailer was viewed 61 million times in the first 24 hours of release, surpassing the 34 million views of Avengers Age of Ultrons in 2014. Scott Mendelson of Forbes called the trailer a doozy and noted that the early debut ahead of the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens was a good show on behalf of Disney, as it was a way to not get lost amid the 8,000 other trailers debuting with Star Wars. Mendelson also noted that based on the trailer's content, the film was being sold as Captain America 3 as opposed to Avengers 2.5 or Iron Man 4, which could help keep the film's box office expectations in check. On February 4th, 2016, Marvel released their own version of the Facebook hashtag Friends Day video for Captain America. The video mirrors those created by Facebook for users to celebrate the anniversary of Facebook's founding and features images of Captain America's friends, the Winter Soldier, Thor, Falcon, and Hawkeye. The video concludes with an image of Captain America and Iron Man being torn in half. Jennifer Kahneman of The Hollywood Reporter called the video timely and its contents especially relevant considering the storyline of Civil War. 3 days later, a teaser debuted during Super Bowl 50, which received the most social media activity out of all the film trailers released that day. Anthony Brasnikin of Entertainment Weekly said the footage actually feels a little more like a teaser than a full trailer, since it shows some new shots but really doesn't reveal much more about the story. Additionally, he felt the chanting, unseen voices calling out, "United we stand, and divide we fall." We had a football stadium vibe, complementing it, appearing during the Super Bowl. Mendelsohn added that Marvel did not need to follow the model used for the Winter Soldier during Super Bowl 48 of showing a longer wait. Yeah, 48. I was right. Yeah, 48. 48 of showing a longer trailer after the teaser, since Civil War was frankly a higher profile sequel. Overall, Mendelsohn felt the spot was only a little less low-key and smaller scale as the trailer that debuted in November 2015, and sold the real-world aspect with character drama and mostly real-world action between would-be superheroes. 4 days later, on Valentine's Day, the Facebook campaign was continued, with Marvel creating a full status update for Captain America, showing his relationship status had changed to in a complicated relationship with Iron Man. At the Walt Disney Company's annual shareholder meeting in the Auditorium Theater in March, now formerly CEO, Bob Iger presented a clip from the film to generous applause. From March 7th to the 10th, Marvel released individual posters for characters in the film, continued its Facebook campaign with 2 teaser videos showcasing the participants on Team Cap and Team Iron Man, and released a second trailer. The trailer was viewed close to 95 million times within the first 24 hours of release, surpassing the views achieved by the first trailer. In addition, 240,000 social media posts across X, formerly Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook, among others, were made to the trailer, surpassing 81,000. The Age of Ultron trailer received in 2014. According to internet analytics firm ZEFR, the trailer was viewed over 62 million times from YouTube and Facebook over 4 days, making it the second most viewed trailer at the time, behind the 64.6 million views for the Star Wars The Force Awakens trailer. It became the top trailer in 2016 through March 13th, 2016, according to research firm Listen First, for receiving the most likes, retweets, and other engagement on X, formerly Twitter. Um, the trailer continued to be the top viewed trailer on YouTube and Facebook for 3 straight weeks, according to ZEFR, receiving more than 96 million total views since its release. Mendelsohn called the trailer a textbook case for unnecessary second pitches. Is there anyone out there who watched that first teaser back in December and said, it looks good and all, but I need more evidence? He added that he was a little disappointed by the big Spider-Man reveal, having previously wondered after a Spider-Man character poster was not released with the others, if Marvel would have the courage to not include the character in any marketing material before the film's release, letting the Peter Parker scenes the film has to offer be something different, something that is a surprise for theatrical moviegoers and or something that drives post-opening weekend buzz. Mendelssohn's colleague at Forbes, Mark Hughes, felt differently, noting that the trailer was targeting the general audience rather than just fans by giving us more explanation and context of why a clearly major battle is raging between Captain America and Iron Man, and by including Spider-Man, since there are plenty of surprises in these movies, and since we all already know Spider-Man is in Civil War, refusing to let us see him would frankly be a bit weird and pointless. It's common for average film goers to hear some final bit of information or see some final image and feel compelled, inspired, or otherwise driven to go out to the movies that day. There are any number of factors that can come into play, and the world needed to see Spider-Man because it's the sort of value added element that can make a difference. Um, uh, hold on. Graham McMullen of Grame, of the Hollywood Reporter, felt that the Spider-Man reveal alone makes the trailer, describing it as feeling like the comic book character come to life. That awkward voice cracking, "Hey everyone," was as humble, plain, and cool and cocky as he should. With the film seemingly continuing plot threads first introduced in Age of Ultron, Mendelsohn wondered to what extent the whole consequences galore narrative of Civil War will improve Age of Ultron. As much great stuff as that movie has, it ultimately shows the main hero foolishly, recklessly bring a world-killing threat to Earth, and lots of really bad stuff goes down, and yet no one seems to care at the end. What does it mean if Civil War does retroactively improve Age of Ultron? Will we be at a point where we really can't judge a franchise installment on its own merits because a future installment may well fix the flaws of a couple years down the line? McMullen continued some of Mendelssohn's thinking, feeling that Marvel was in an awkward place with Civil War regarding superhero destruction moving forward. He wondered how superhero oversight would actually prevent the kind of destruction that it's meant to stop, unless the bad guys all agree to by the new rules as well. Worse still, the destruction caused by superhero fights should now be foremost in viewers' heads. The audience won't be able to enjoy the sight of the Hulk smashing a random minion through a wall without thinking of the property damage and or whoever was standing on the other side of that wall. After the Civil War, can Marvel go back to pretending that everyone is okay after any large scale event ever again? Also in March, Marvel, in partnership with the National Academy of Science and Entertainment Exchange, Dolby Laboratories, Broadcom, and Synchrony Bank, announced the Girls Reforming the Future Challenge, aimed at females aged 15 through 18 in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education fields, to submit projects they feel can change the world and have far-reaching effects. 5 winners would attend the world premiere at the Dolby Theater and receive a tour of Walt Disney Studios and a $500 saving account from Synchrony Bank, with one grand prize winner receiving an internship at Marvel Studios. On April 10th, Evans debuted an exclusive clip of the film during the 2016 MTV Movie Awards. Throughout the month, the Russo brothers and the cast promoted the film in Paris, Beijing, Singapore, Berlin, and London. At the end of the month, Marvel released additional viral marketing videos of WHIH Newsfront, featuring Bibb once again reprising her role as Everhart. In the program, Everhart discusses with political analyst Will Adams, portrayed by Al Madrigal, the cost the Avengers bring for saving the world and if they should have regulation from the government. Additional Newsfront segments saw William Sadler reprise his role as President Matthew Ellis, including an exclusive interview and his reaction to the incident involving the Avengers in Lagos. On May 2nd, 2016, Evans, Renner, and executives from Marvel rang the opening bell of the New York Stock Exchange in honor of the film's theatrical release. Merchandise. At the 2015 Licensing International Expo, Disney Consumer Products announced that they would partner with licensees including Hasbro, Lego, Funko, Hot Wheels, Rubies, Mad Engines, Sea Life, J. Franco, Global Brand Group, Kellogg's, Hallmark, and American Greetings to sell merchandise related to the film. Coca-Cola, Google, Samsung, Wrigley, Harley-Davidson, Audi, Synchrony, Financial, Pringles, Keebler, Pizza Hut, Pop Secret, Mouser, Electronics, and Vivo, among other brands, were also licensees for the film. Paul Gitter, Senior VP, Vice President of Licensing for Marvel at Disney Consumer Products, said that they will build off the success of licensed products for Avengers Age of Ultron, including a focus on a celebration of Captain America's 75th anniversary. Female apparel, healthy living and travel, and on marketing newer characters such as War Machine, Falcon, Vision, Black Widow, and Black Panther. The Avengers team is both aspirational and hugely merchandisable, made up of multiple unique heroes coming together with amazing skills, cool vehicles, and a high-tech headquarters, said Gitter. Captain America Civil War not only gives us new storytelling for our favorite superheroes, but also introduces new ones, allowing us to expand product lines for kids and fans. As part of the $200 million marketing effort for the film, Harley-Davidson created 2 customized motorcycles for the film. Audi debuted a commercial directed by the Russo brothers, featuring unreleased scenes from the film, while Pizza Hut debuted collectible boxes, and Kellogg's, Pringles, and keyboard products featured virtual reality experiences. The lead up to the film's release culminated in a massive online vote across Google, YouTube, and X, formerly Twitter, for either Team Captain America or Team Iron Man. Marvel released a 4-issue comic prelude by writer Will Corona Pilgrim and artist Z- Zymon Kudransky. Beginning in December 2015, that adapted the events of Iron Man 3 and Captain America The Winter Soldier. On February 10th, Marvel Comics released another comic prelude, a single issue infinite comic set between the Winter Soldier and Civil War. Written again by Pilgrim, the comic is told from the perspectives of Barnes, Rumlow, and Rogers, showing how each ended up where they begin Civil War. Art for each character's perspective is provided by Lee Ferguson, Goran Sudzuka, and Guillermo Mogoran, respectively. Now we go to the reception. All right, Captain America Civil War grossed $408.1 million in the U.S. and Canada and $745.2 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $1.153 billion. By May 10th, 2016, the film had grossed $737.8 million, surpassing the entire theatrical gross of its predecessor, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It became the highest grossing film of 2016, the fourth highest grossing superhero film of all time, and third highest grossing film in the US and Canada of 2016, behind Rogue One and Finding Dory. Deadline Hollywood calculated the film's net profit as $193.4 million, accounting for production budgets, marketing, talent participations, and other costs. Box office grosses and home media revenues placed it 8th on their list of 2016's most valuable blockbusters. United States and Canada, 2 weeks ahead of its release, Fandango announced that the film outsold all previous Marvel Cinematic Universe films at the same point in the sales cycle, and by its opening week had reached the highest advanced sales for a superhero film, representing 90% of the site's weekend ticket sales. Captain America Civil War earned $75.5 million on its opening day. The film's Friday gross included $25 million from Thursday previews, the second highest Thursday preview gross among Marvel films, with $3.1 million of the $25 million coming from IMAX theaters, a new Marvel record. The film went on to earn $61.2 million on Saturday, and $42.4 million on Sunday, for a opening weekend gross of $179.1 million, the third highest for a Marvel film and fifth highest of all time. Of the $179.1 million, $16 million was from IMAX, and the second best for an MCU film. Initial projections for Captain America Civil War had it earning between $175 to $200 million on its opening weekend, with the projection being revised to $172 to $178 million after Friday. Box office called it the safest box office bet since Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The film remained at number one in its second weekend and fell to second in its third behind the Angry Birds movie. In its fourth weekend, Captain America Civil War became the highest grossing film of 2016 in North America, and by June 17, 2016, became the first film of 2016 to surpass $400 million. Captain America Civil War's opening in 15 countries on April 27, 2016, earned $14.9 million, followed by $23.8 million the next day from 15 more countries, and $45.3 million 2 days later from 8 additional countries, for a 3-day total of $84 million. Its first weekend brought a total of $200.4 million after being projected to earn anywhere between $180 to $250 million, with $9.4 million coming from IMAX. The film debuted at number 1 in all countries except Japan. The film stayed at number 1 in its second weekend, earning $217 million, with existing territory seeing a 55% decline in earnings, while surpassing the entire international earnings of previous Captain America films, along with other MCU films. For IMAX, in its second weekend, Captain America Civil War earned $31 million, a new record for a day and date opening for a Marvel film. By its third weekend, the film remained at number 1 in some territories, being overtaken by the Angry Birds movie and others, and became the top film of 2016 and fourth highest grossing film, superhero film outside of North America. It set records for the largest opening day in Mexico, $7.3 million, opening day of 2016 in France, $2.4 million, the second largest opening day in Brazil, $2.7 million, and the United Arab Emirates, the largest superhero opening in the Netherlands, and the largest superhero opening in Turkey and Ukraine. It set opening weekend records in Brazil, $12.9 million, Mexico, $20.4 million, and the Philippines, $7.7 million, and was the second largest opening weekend in Hong Kong, $6.9 million, and Thailand, $9.4 million. And in the United Kingdom, the film earned the second largest opening day and weekend of 2016, and with $20.5 million, while France had the top 2016 opening weekend with $10.1 million. Germany had the best 4-day opening of 2016 with $8.1 million. And Spain had the second largest 3-day opening of 2016 with $4.2 million. For South Korea, the film was the largest non-Korean opening and largest Marvel opening in history. China had the second best IMAX opening, $9.5 million, as well as the second largest opening weekend for a Hollywood film, $95.6 million, with the film eventually becoming the third highest Disney release in the country after 10 days. And the second largest superhero film, Japan saw the film open third with $4.2 million behind Detective Conan, The Darkest Nightmare, $5.3 million, and Zootopia, $4.8 million. The film's largest markets were China, $190.4 million, South Korea, $62.8 million, the United Kingdom, $53.2 million. Critical response of the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reported an approval rating of 90% with an average score of 7.8 out of 10 based on 430 reviews. The website's critical consensus reads, Captain America Civil War begins the next wave of Marvel movies with an action-packed superhero blockbuster boosting a decidedly non-cartoonish plot and the courage to explore thought-provoking themes. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned a score of 75 out of 100, based on 53 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an A grade on an A plus to F scale, while Post-Track reported filmgoers gave it an 88% overall positive score and a 75% definite recommend. Justin Chang of Variety called it the most mature and substantive picture to have yet emerged from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sherry Linden of The Hollywood Reporter called it Civil War, or call it brand extension, call it a cinematic universe or a corporate behemoth. The latest Marvel extravaganza furthers the studio's cross-pollination of action franchises in a way that's sure to satisfy devotees. Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph wrote, "This is the cinematic superhero showdown you've dreamt of since childhood. Precisely because that's everything and all it wants to be." Captain Short of The Guardian called it a huge aspartame rush of a film, a giant irresistible snack, not nutritious but very tasty. Richard Rober of the Chicago Sun-Times wrote, "Kudos to co-directors Anthony and Joe Russo and the team of writers for juggling more than a dozen comic book characters and nearly that many plot lines, and only occasionally getting us lost in the geek weeds." Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times said, "If you live and breathe Marvel, this is one of the MCU's stronger offerings. If you are a spy coming in from the cold, the answer is not so clear." Let's see. Answer's not so clear. Yeah. Let's see. Answer not so clear. Hold on a second. Yeah, A.O. Scott of the New York Times wrote, "Captain America Civil War does not in any way transcend the conventions of the genre. On the contrary, it succeeds because it doesn't really try." Conversely, Stephen Whitty of the New York Daily News said, "Although it's Captain America Civil War, the latest Marvel movie is actually a supersized Avengers picture, overstuffed to bursting, and sometimes during its 2.5 hour running 2.5 hour running time, it just goes bust." Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle said, "As a work of thought, Civil War is comprised, but at least there are thoughts to compromise. As an action film, it has its moments, but aside from the big opening sequence, the action scenes are a bit flat." Andrew O'Hare, Andrew O'Heher, um, writing for Salon, said, "Much of Captain America Civil War is just the laborious working out of leftover dangling plot elements from Captain America the Winter Soldier 2 summers ago." While Nicholas Barber of the BBC gave the film a generally favorable review, praising both its visuals and action sequences, he criticized the fact that there are no cogent reason for any of the Avengers to be on one side or the other, which is why their inevitable dust up feels like a game of dodgeball in a school playground. Oh wow. That's some foul shit. Millard, writer of the Civil War comic storyline on which the film was based, felt the film had a good opening 20 minutes, but then I honestly can't remember what the movie was about. He also felt the film lacked levity, especially considering the Russo brothers' background in comedy. Oh boy. Like I said before, man, you can't please everybody, no matter what it is. You can't please everybody. All right, so the Teen Choice Awards. So Captain America Civil War and Chris Evans won for Choice Movie Sci-Fi Fantasy, Choice Movie Actor Sci-Fi Fantasy. Robert Downey Jr. got a nomination for that category. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Choice Movie Actress Sci-Fi Fantasy. Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Don Cheadle, Paul Bettany, and the late great Chadwick Boseman got a nomination for Choice Movie Chemistry, um, followed by Chris Evans, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Elizabeth Olsen, and Jeremy Renner. They all got a nomination for Choice Movie Chemistry. Let's see. Chris Evans and Emily Van Camp got a nomination for Choice Movie Lip Lock. Daniel Bruhl got a nomination for Choice Movie Villain. Late great Chadwick Boseman got a nomination for Choice Movie Scene Stealer, and Tom Holland included as well as the nomination for Choice Movie Scene Stealer. Captain America: Civil War got a nomination for the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Action Movie. Chris Evans got a nomination for Best Action in an Action Movie. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Best Actress in an Action Movie. The People's Choice Awards, Captain America Civil War got a nomination for Favorite Movie, Favorite Action Movie. Robert Downey Jr. got a nomination for Favorite Movie Actor. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Movie Actress. Um, um, Chris Evans got a nomination for Favorite Movie Actor. Robert Downey Jr. got one for Favorite Action Movie Actor. Okay, so he won that. Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Movie Action Actress. Screen Actors Guild Awards, Captain America Civil War got a nomination for outstanding performance by a stunt assembled in a motion picture. The Annie Awards goes to Captain America Civil War, Spider-Man, Steve Rollins, Abraham Jerome, Cedric Lowe, Stephen King, and Yar Gutierrez got a nomination for Outstanding Achievement Character Animation in a Live Action Production. The late great Chadwick Boseman got a nomination for the NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. The Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe Russo, got a nomination for Outstanding Director in a Motion Picture. Captain America Civil War got a nomination for Favorite Movie, and this is from the Kids' Choice Awards. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson got a nomination for Favorite Movie Actor, Favorite Movie Actress, Favorite Butt Kicker. Favorite Butt Kicker by Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson got a nomination as well. Favorite Frenemies, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Renner, and the late great Chadwick Boseman got a nomination for Hashtag Squad. Empire Awards, Tom Holland got a nomination for Best Male Newcomer. Captain America Civil War got a nomination for Best Thriller. Judiana Makovsky got a nomination for Best costume design. Captain America Civil War got nominated for Best Visual Effects. As we go to the Saturn Awards, Chris Evans, late great Chadwick Boseman, Scarlett Johansson, all three got a nomination for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, um, Best Supporting Actress. Ha! Snoopy Ball. Oh shit. Oh man. Tom Holland won for Best Performance by a Younger Actor, followed by Jeffrey Ford and Matthew Schmidt winning nomination for Best Editing, Best Production Design. Owen Peter Owen Patterson got a nomination for Best Production Design as well. And let me see if there's anything else. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to. Yes. All right. Let me see. Captain America: Brave New World is a 2025 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics, featuring the character Sam Wilson, aka Captain America, produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the fourth installment in the Captain America film series, a continuation of the television miniseries The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and the 35th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film was directed by Julius Ona from a screenplay by Rob Edwards and the writing teams of Malcolm Spellman and Delon Musson, and Ona and Peter Glanz. It stars Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Captain America, alongside Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, Carl Lumbly, Zosha Rocumore, Giancarlo Esposito, Liv Tyler, Tim Blake, and Harrison Ford. In the film, Wilson investigates a conspiracy involving U.S. President Thaddeus Ross. Oh, wow. Budget for the film is $180 million, and it made $415 million. Wow. Wow. Captain America um, Captain America Civil War ended the Captain America trilogy starring Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, and Wilson becomes the new Captain America in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Series writers Spellman and Musson were writing a new Captain America film by April 2021, and Mackie signed on that August. Ona joined in July 2022 when the title Captain America New World Order was announced. Additional cast members joined later that year. Nelson and Tyler returned from the second MCU film, The Incredible Hulk 2008, while Ford replaced William Hurt as Ross, following Hurt's death in March 2022. Ross becomes the superpowered Red Hulk in the film. Filming took place from March to June 2023 at Trilith Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, with additional filming in Washington, D.C. The subtitle was changed to Brave New World during filming. Matthew Orton joined in December 2023 to write for reshoots, which took place between May and November 2024, and added Esposito to the film. The involvement of Edwards and Glanz was revealed that December. Captain America Brave New World premiered on February 11, 2025 at the TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood, Los Angeles, and was released in the United States on February 14th as part of Phase 5 of the MCU. It grossed $415 million worldwide. The film received mixed reviews from critics for its story connections to other MCU projects and visual effects. The performances, particularly those of Mackie and Ford, received praise. All right. Wow. You know what? Hold on, let me just do this. All right, so marketing Feige and Mackie reviewed the first footage from the film, focusing on Wilson meeting the Thaddeus Ross at CinemaCon in April 2024. The following month, McDonald's began selling Happy Meals with toys based on characters. Yeah, based on characters from the film, including Red Hulk and Diamondback. Stephanie Colloy at the Wrap noted that these characters had not been confirmed for the film by Marvel at that time, and the early reveal was likely due to the film's release being delayed, but the marketing partnership with McDonald's not being pushed back to match. More footage from the film was shown at a Cine Europe panel in June, teasing Disney's theatrical slate. A teaser trailer was released in July, which drew comparisons to the Winter Soldier's tone, with Jennifer Aulette of Ars Technica describing it as half superhero movie, half political thriller. The appearance of Red Hulk and the character's potential true identity were both widely discussed. Adam Chitwood at the Wrap wondered if rumors of Thaddeus Ross becoming Red Hulk were a red herring. The Verge's Charles Pulliam Moore questioned if the film being a continuation of The Falcon and The Winter Soldier would be difficult for general audiences to follow. Conversely, Sandy Schaefer and Chris Evangelista um, um, from film felt the film would not relay much on the series to have wider audience appeal. They called the trailer pretty good considering the film's recently completed reshoots, noting that it largely contains action rather than plot details. Commentators also noted the reveal that the remains of Tiamat would be featured in the film after the emergence had largely been ignored in MCU projects since Eternals. Yeah. Michael McWhorter at Polygon noted that the trailer shows the United States and other countries meeting at a global unity summit to discuss the celestial, with a stylized version of Tiamat's hand being used as a logo for the summit. Later in July, Marvel released an updated version of the teaser for distribution in theaters that removed Isaiah Bradley's assassination attempt on Thaddeus Ross. This came following the attempted assassination of Cheeseface President 47 in Pennsylvania that month. Also, in July 2024, Feige and members of the cast promoted the film at San Diego Comic-Con. More footage was shown, Esposito's role was announced, and Thaddeus Ross was confirmed to be the character who transforms into Red Hulk. Similar footage was also shown at the 2024 D23 Expo. Following online leaks of the San Diego Comic-Con and D23 footage, Marvel released an official look at Red Hulk within their video celebrating the company's 85th anniversary in August. A full trailer for the film debuted at D23 Brazil in November and was also released online. After the teasers of Red Hulk and previously released footage, the trailer features Ross's transformation into Red Hulk and shots of the character fighting Wilson. Several commentators noted that the trailer's unique style, featuring creepy black lines, split screen shots, and a flickering text effect. Comparisons were drawn to political thriller films such as The Day of the Jackal, The Parallax View, and All the President's Men, as well as The Candidate, JFK, and The Constant Gardener. Jordan King at Empire questioned whether Brave New World would live up to these comparisons, but said it was a promising sign that the film was looking to place itself in conversation with those previous films. Marvel Studios partnered with Tide's Collateral Stains promotional campaign to release a series of commercials for the film in January 2025. These feature Greg Turkington reprising his role of Baskin Robbins store manager Dale from the MCU films Ant-Man 2015 and Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania 2023. For the 3 weeks leading up to the film's premiere, Disney was said to be making a final and biggest marketing push for it. At a press event in Italy at the end of January, Mackie said Captain America represented values like honor, dignity, and integrity rather than America itself. He received backlash from some online commenters who labeled the film anti-American and woke. All you idiots, shut the fuck up, man. Really, everything can't be woke, man. Like, chill, man. Y'all gotta chill out with that woke bullshit and anti-American bullshit. Anyway, Mackie soon added, end quote, I'm a proud American and taking on the shield of a hero like Cap is the honor of a timeline. Cap has universal characteristics that people all over the world can relate to. James Hibbert of The Hollywood Reporter said Evans made similar statements when playing the character, and the actors were likely directed by Marvel to focus on Captain America's universal qualities to avoid any jingoistic connotations while promoting internationally. Hibbert also discussed the film's other controversies, similarities between Thaddeus Ross and the newly re-elected Cheeseface President 47. The original New World Order, subtle opposing views on the inclusion and portrayal of Ruth Bat Sarap, and ugly criticisms related to Mackie being black, but said these did not appear to have impacted the film's box office performance based on early projections. Coinciding with the film's release in February, concept art by Meander Meanderding of the film's Captain America costume and design for Red Hulk were used as variant covers for Marvel Comics' Sam Wilson, Captain America #2, and Red Hulk #1. All right. All right. So let's see. So how did it do in the box office? Captain America: Brave New World grossed $200.5 million in the United States and Canada, and $214.6 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $415.1 million. Deadline Hollywood reported that the film needed to earn $425 million to break even, taking into account the reported production budget of $180 million as well as marketing costs. Feige attributed the film's low box office performance to the absence of Steve Rogers' actor Chris Evans, who had headlined the 3 previous Captain America films. In the United States and Canada, the film was released alongside Paddington in Peru and was projected to gross $80 to $94 million from 4,105 theaters in its 4-day opening weekend. Tracking service Quorum reported early box office estimates for the film in mid-January 2025, projecting that it would earn $86 to $95 million during its opening weekend and more than $100 million across the 4-day weekend from Valentine's Day to President's Day. This was similar to The Winter Soldier's $95 million opening weekend in 2014. Further tracking reported later in January similarly indicated an opening of at least $90 million. The film grossed $40 million on its opening day, including an estimated $12 million from Thursday previews. It debuted to $88.8 million and a total of $100 million over the 4-day frame, topping the box office. In its second weekend, it retained the top spot at the box office and grossed $28.2 million, a 68% drop that ranked as the third worst for the MCU after the Marvels and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The film made $14.9 million in its third weekend, remaining atop the box office before being dethroned in its fourth by newcomer Mickey 17. Outside the United States and Canada, the film grossed $92.4 million from 52 overseas markets in its opening weekend. The top 5 international markets were China, $10.5 million, the UK, $8.5 million, Mexico, $6.6 million, Korea, $5.6 million, and France, $4.7 million. Captain America: Brave New World received mixed reviews from critics who were divided on the film's story, connections to other MCU projects, and visual effects. All right. The overall reception was also described as unfavorable, negative, and mixed to negative. The performances, particularly those of Mackie and Ford, received praise. On review, aggregated Rotten Tomatoes, 46% of 367 critics gave Brave New World a positive review, with an average rating of 5.4 out of 10. The critics' consensus reads, Anthony Mackie capably takes up Cap's mantle and shield, but Brave New World is too routine and overstuffed with uninteresting Easter eggs to feel like a worthy standalone adventure for this new Avengers leader. Metacritic summarized the critical response as mixed or average, based on a weighted average score of 42 out of 100 from 56 critics. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B- on an A+ to F scale, the lowest grade for an MCU film to date. And Post-Track reported a mixed bag average rating of 3 stars out of 5. The political subject matter was a subject of critical commentary. Frank Shack at The Hollywood Reporter remarked that the scene where Ross transformed into Red Hulk and caused havoc across Washington, D.C. seemed like a fantasy of real-world United States cheese-faced President 47. David Ehrlich of IndieWire agreed with parallels between Ross and cheese-faced President 47's Make America Great Again rhetoric, citing both being growth old men elevated to office based on the promise of facilitating unity based on dealing with an alien threat. The Independence Adam White said that while Ross, aka Red Hulk, could be interpreted as a cheese-faced President 47, Pastich. This was ultimately unlikely as the film refused to establish a political stance, with subplots regarding politics remain underused. Rolling Stone's David Fear joked that Ross was somehow still only the second most destructive, rage-filled commander-in-chief to ever hold office. And Entertainment Weekly writer Maureen Lee Lenker joked that the most unbelievable part is a U.S. president with empathy, a sense of responsibility for his actions, and a capacity for change. Brandon Yu of the New York Times wrote that the only whiffs of tangible political intrigue to be found were either unintended or from allusions to previous subject matter in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Other commentary concerned the controversial Bat Sarap character, with PJ Grisar at the forward, writing that the controversy about the character relating to Israel and Gaza did not matter because the film overall was honestly such a dog's breakfast in terms of politics and presentation. Damn. While film's Devin Meenan opined that the character's debut could not have been timed more poorly because of the divisiveness of public opinion inherent in the ongoing conflict. The characterization and narrative were criticized. Molly Freeman, writing for Screen Rant, claimed that the only purpose of Sam's suit switch from white to blue was to sell more toys, pointing this out as an example of the films featuring elements without flair nor concern for furthering its story or characters. You likewise wrote that it amounted to the genre of the action figure commercial. Vultures, Blige Iberi wrote that the film marked Marvel's turn into a giant slot machine, opining that the film's bid to create sincerity came off as phony and that the jokes to cut this up were lame. While Sheck agreed that humor was in severely short supply and that Mackey's reliable charisma was lacking. The Rap's William Bibiani wrote that the film was unoriginal and without emotional depth, even in a few moments where Wilson made an emotional connection to the film, as these moments only rehashed the plot of Falcon and the Winter Soldier briefly and without impact. It's said that Brave New World's steadfast refusal to engage with its own ideas, either by artistic design or corporate mandate, reeks of timidity. Writing for RogerEbert.com, Robert Daniels said Wilson was turned into the magical Negro for the film. Okay, that was a little off and harsh though. And that in an effort to soothe white America's anger and hurt, the film also asked its hero to grin and figuratively tap dance off screen. Shit. Collider's Aidan Kelly said the dialogue was among the worst present in the whole of the MCU and criticized the boringness of Wilson, Sidewinder, and Bat Saraf, though it praised Ford's empathy. They pointed out the non-cohesive nature of the film, mentioning the reshoots the film underwent as resulting in this. In agreement on the topic of Ford, Lee said Ford was the main attraction, lauding his gravitas and twinkle in his eye and the merry warmth. White called the character development an afterthought. Feeling Mackie had little to play with emotionally and criticized his relegation to a functional, blandly heroic punching machine despite his acting talent. The Wall Street Journal's Kyle Smith said that the film is completely completely executed without resorting to played out gimmickry such as skipping across the multiverse, adding that it gives the audience plenty of analogs for real world problems. He also wrote that the MCU draws on the Manchurian Candidate to produce one of its better recent movies, while Katie Walsh of the Los Angeles Times described the film as a decent political thriller with something culturally resonant to say that exceeds mere comic book particulars. Critics were polarized on the visuals. For the New York Post, Johnny Olesinski felt that the animation of the White House fight scene was so cheap and cheesy that it was unable to be taken seriously, and the reveal of the mutated Stearns caused a hearty guffaw because of the poor makeup and prosthetics. Kelly wrote that the CGI in the film was worse than The Incredible Hulk 2008, released nearly 2 decades earlier, and concluded it was unconvincing. Iberi wrote that the VFX heavy sequences are so lifeless and tiresome that I felt my eyes drifting closed a couple of times. Daniels and Freeman both praised the VFX on Red Hulk, though Freeman felt the cherry blossoms were a green screen mess. You wrote that the visuals were garish and slapdash, while Bibirini, called the visuals drab and unfinished, criticizing Wilson's CGI wings as a proof of concept that proves nothing. They wrote that the film looked so clean it looks completely fake. Sheck wrote the CGI was underwhelming, 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 and at other times even worse, but were amused from recognizing Ford's features in Red Hulk. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 3 of 4 stars and called it a far better work than recent MCU missteps. Okay. All right. Annie Awards, Sidney Cobo, Kentobo, Andrew William Park, Marco Roth, Paul Sabe, and Tien Lai got a nomination for the Annie Awards for Outstanding Achievement for Character Animation in a Live Action Production. Ramsey Avery and Rosemary Brandenburg nomination for Outstanding Production Design for Black Reel Awards. Critics' Choice Awards, Captain America Brave New World got a nomination for Best Superhero Movie. Anthony Mackie got a nomination for Best Actor in a Superhero Movie. Hollywood Music and Media Awards. Let me see. Laura Karpman got a nomination for Original Score Sci-Fi Fantasy Film. Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, Captain America Brave New World, Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie, all got nominations for Favorite Movie, Favorite Villain, Favorite Butt Kicker, and Saturn Awards, Captain America Brave New World got a nomination for Best Cinematic Adaptation. Okay. Now, let me go to the TV version. There's a TV version that goes with it too. Oh shit. There's a TV version that goes with it too. I want to go over that as well. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh boy. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Okay. TV show checkouts right now. All right. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is an American television miniseries created by Malcolm Spellman for the streaming service Disney Plus, based on Marvel Comics, featuring the characters Sam Wilson and Falcon and Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. It is the second television series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, produced by Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios, sharing continuity with the films of the franchise, and is set 6 months after Sam Wilson was handed the mantle of Captain America in the film Avengers Endgame. Wilson teams up with Bucky Barnes to stop anti-patriots who believed the world was better during the blip. Spellman served as head writer for the series, which was directed by Carl Skogland. Okay. Yeah, it only did like 6 episodes in one season, so that's, you know. Yeah, so Sebastian and Anthony Mackie reprised their respective roles as Barnes and Wilson from the film series, and with Wyatt Russell, Aaron Kellyman, Danny Ramirez, Georges St. Pierre, Adepero, Oduye, Don Cheadle, Daniel Bruhl, Emily Van Camp, Florence Kasumba, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, also starring. By September 2020, by September 2018, Marvel Studios was developing several limited series for Disney Plus, centered on supporting characters from the MCU films, such as Wilson and Barnes. Spellman was hired in October and chose to focus on the radical and political issues raised by Wilson, a black man being handed Captain America's shield at the end of Endgame. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was announced in April 2019 when Stan and Mackie were confirmed to be starring. Skogland was hired to direct the next film. Filming began in October 2019 in Atlanta, Georgia, before moving to the Czech Republic in March 2020. Production was halted due to the COVID-19 slamdemic era, but it resumed in Atlanta in September before wrapping in the Czech Republic in October. Um, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier premiered on March 19th, 2021, and ran for 6 episodes until April 23rd. It is part of Phase 4 of the MCU. The series received positive reviews, with critics highlighting the actors' chemistry and the series' social commentary, but criticizing its pacing. It received several accolades, including 5 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. A feature film, Captain America: Brave New World, continues Wilson's story from the series. Oh boy. Let's see. Let's go to reception, man. Man. All right, so Disney Plus announced that the first film, New World Order, was the most watched series premiere ever for the streaming service in its opening weekend, ahead of the premieres of WandaVision and the second season of The Mandalorian. Additionally, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the most watched title overall globally for that time period on Disney Plus, including the Disney Plus Hotstar markets. Samba TV reported that 1.7 million households watched the episode in its opening weekend. TV Vision determines viewing impressions by counting its 14,000 viewers on connected televisions who have watched at least 2 minutes of a title within a session of watching content for at least 5 minutes. Across all major U.S. streaming and advertising video on demand services, the company reported that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the most viewed series of April 2021 across major platforms, being viewed nearly 40 times more than the average series measured by the service. According to file sharing news website Torrent Freak, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the fourth most pirated television series of 2021. Yeah. Let's go to the accolades that it won. Okay, so MTV Movie and TV Awards, Anthony Mackie along with Sebastian Stan, they both won for Best Hero and Best Duo. Golden Trailer Awards, co-workers got a nomination for Best BTS EPK for a TV streaming series under 2 minutes. The Black Reel Awards, Malcolm Spellman, Anthony Mackie, Malcolm Spellman, um, Carl Lumbly, Florence Kasumba, all got nominations for Outstanding Drama Series, Outstanding Actor Drama Series, Outstanding Writing Drama Series, Outstanding Guest Actor Drama Series, Outstanding Guest Actress Drama Series. Let's see. And Hollywood Critics Association TV Awards, Anthony Mackie, Daniel Bro, Wyatt Russell, all got nominations for Best Actor in a Streaming Series Drama, Best Supporting Actor in a Streaming Series Drama, Don Cheadle, Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. Primetime Creative Arts Emmy Awards. Matthew Wood, Bonnie Wild, James Spencer, Richard Quinn, Steve Slanek, Kimberly Patrick, Teresa Acton, Frank Ranella, Devin Kelly, Larry Oatfield, Anel Onyek Dan Pinder, Ronnie Brown, Andrea Gard, all got nominations for Outstanding Sound Editing for a Comedy or Drama Series. Let's see. Eric Levin, Mike May, John Haley, Daniel Melitz, Chris Wagner, Charles Tate, Sebastian Francoeur, Chris Morley, and Mark Ladeau all got nominations for Outstanding Special Visual Effects in a movie or in a season or a movie, excuse me. Hank Amos, Dave McComber, Outstanding Stunt Coordination, John Nania, Aaron Tony, Justin Eaton got a nomination for Outstanding Stunt Performance, Outstanding Stunt Coordination. And of course the show itself, including the cast, got a nomination for Hollywood Professional Association Awards, People's Choice Awards, NAACP Image Awards, Screen Actors Guild, Visual Effects Society, Critics' Choice Super Awards, and Saturn Awards. All right, so yeah, to everybody that got nominated, congratulations. All right, I'm not gonna have time to go over. I'm not gonna have time to go over. WandaVision, so I'm just gonna go straight to the the last segment. Hold on 1 second here. All right, time for the video game entertainment newsroom. Okay, we got I guess I'm not the only one who got laid off. So let's go to let's talk about this video game industry um, that's been laying people off, and it goes by the people from Electronic Arts. I want to actually get to this right here. Actually, I wanted to address this actually. So this is just important. So, yeah. Hold on 1 second here. I'm sorry. What the hell's going on here? All right. Apparently, I'm having a little difficulty with this page. I don't know what's going on here, but Electronic Arts. Arts layoffs. Okay, let's take a look here. 2026. All right. All righty then. Come on. Let me see. Let me see what's going on here. This is crazy. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. All right. So, Electronic Arts has launched a new wave of layoffs affecting several internal departments of the company. According to industry insider Dustin Ligari, the affected employees have already been informed of the layoffs. This current phase is considered the first step in a potentially larger wave of layoffs in the summer of 2026. Official figures of confirmations from EA are not yet available. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wow. Things that people do for money, man. Yes, so the timing of the layoffs is surprising from a technical perspective. Just in March 2026, EA cut around 300 jobs across the entire Battlefield division, including at DICE. Um, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive. This very dimension, um, this very dimension, hold on, yeah, this very division delivered with Battlefield 6, the most commercially successful shooter of 2025, will be released in the winter. Hmm. A record breaking launch no longer protects development teams from budget cuts. The reason lies in the exploding budgets of AAA productions, which now routinely range between 200 and 300 million US dollars. Um, Rising marketing costs often doubles these sums. The financial risk for publishers is becoming increasingly unsustainable. So structural transformation through artificial intelligence and live services. Behind the scenes, EA is undergoing a strategic realignment. CEO Andrew Wilson has repeatedly emphasized that artificial intelligence is expected to massively increase the efficiency of game development. Human labor will be replaced by automation. Oh, wow. That's so fucking wrong, man. At the same time, the company is shifting its resources away from high risk single player licensed titles towards established proprietary brands and scalable live service models. The ongoing downsizing is a direct consequence of this restructuring. The gaming industry is undergoing a painful consolidation. For the end customer, this development means less creative diversity and an increased focus on low risk sequels. Um, the quality of the future updates for existing live service titles could suffer due to staff reductions. Anyone hoping for innovative new IPs from EA will be disappointed in the coming years. Um, anyone, yeah, the AAA system in its current form is economically stagnant. Oh wow, that's really fucking crazy, man. That's fucking crazy, man. That's really fucking crazy, though, man. All right, Gamescom 2026. Let's take a look at this. Take a look at this before I get up out of here. All right, so with Gamescom opening its doors to over 350,000 guests next week, 4 days of announcement, game reveals, and previews of the medium best and brightest are about to flood the internet. As the booths on the show floor are being built and opening night lives, final rehearsals gets underway. Um, VGC, which is video game Chronicle, caught up with on caught up with ONL host and curator Jeff um, Kiley, alongside the organizers of Gamescom. Gamescom for a sneak peek at what's shaping up to be the convention's biggest year yet. What to expect from opening night live 2026, while hands-on demos, free chat, and an unavoidable room temperature sparkling water will be limited to the few uh, the lengthy pilgrimage to Germany, which takes place today, actually on Tuesday. The rest of the world will get to experience the show via a 2 hour live stream opening night live. ONL curator Jeff Kiley and Gamescom co-organizer Felix Falk shared what fans can expect from the hugely anticipated live stream. Um, Jeff Kiley said, "Gears of War E Day will be a part of opening night live. Um, opening night live, and we'll have Final Fantasy 7 Revelation with Naoki Hamaguchi Son, the director of the game, joining us live for the first update on that game since we announced it back at Summer Game Fest. The Witcher 3 has a new expansion, Songs of the Past, and we will have the first details and look at that. Ananta from NetEast, Metro 2039, Mugenics is also going to have a live performance of the music of that game for the first time, which is going to be unlike anything we've ever done in any of our shows. It's going to be on. It's going to be a fun O&L. I'm hoping they got this on YouTube though, man, because that would be so interesting to watch. Tim Andres said of the Gamescom awesome indie show, "We want to take the game to the next level and give indie developers who are really important to us that are exhibiting at Gamescom even more globally visibility. The show will feature announcements, gameplay reveals, and so on, but we will also go deeper. We want to tell some of the human stories behind these games, the people and the teams and the journeys behind these projects. Signs of a healing industry. While it's undeniably been a rough 12 months for the games industry, you wouldn't know it by the amount of games found on this year's Gamescom show floor. Each year, the available space for exhibitors is the size of 33 football fields. And in 2026, for the first time in the show's history, all this vast exhibition space is completely booked up. Felix sees this as a welcome sign of a damaged industry beginning to heal. The past few years have been tough for the industry, so we are happy. We are really happy that we are breaking records with exhibition space," said Falk. "I think that's a good indicator that the industry is preparing for new growth. Even during tough times for studios, they are positively looking ahead, searching for the next big thing, and shaping the future of this industry. In these times of crisis, fear, and hesitation, this positive, powerful mindset, this kind of excitement for the future is exactly what we need. The trends of KPIs we see are very positive. I think Gamescom will mark a new step forward for the industry." He added, "Gamescom is an important platform not only for the industry, but it also demonstrates the importance of games and the games industry for the economy, culture, and innovation. Our guests include many politicians from all over the world." At the political opening on Wednesday, we have the Vice Chancellor of Germany and, for the first time, a High Representative of the European Commission. We are also happy to have representatives from the World Health Organization, the UN World Food Program, the UN High Commissioner of Refugees, and Europol. Ever wonder how exactly games get chosen on ONL? And the difference between this and Summer Game Fest and the Game Awards, with Aftermath recently reporting that it costs up to $520,000 to put a trailer in opening night live. We asked both Jeff Kiley and Felix Falk about the machinations behind the title selected gratis and the costly ads. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, the games featured on ONL are all partners of Gamescom. Kylie said the companies we're working with are already at Gamescom in some form as an exhibitor, and this is a digital extension of what they are doing with their booths. So there's a link between what's at O and L and what's on the show floor. Certain companies that are not at Gamescom are not part of O and L. Inside these shows, there are obviously what are considered editorial placements, and then there are paid placements, like much like companies will purchase a booth at Gamescom and buy space to secure a spot inside the show. One of the things that's important to all of us is that there are games selected for editorial value in the show. There are also a lot of independent games that we feature selected to be inside O&L because we believe in those titles and we want to support them. He continued, as I always say, when you tune into these shows, they are marketing events just like Gamescom is a marketing event. You can consider everything to be in many ways marketing video games, but there are definitely games that we select for editorial consideration across all the shows. Folk commented in quote, the vast majority of everything we do on the digital side is not paid advertisement. It is free for our partners because the core of Gamescom is the excitement and everything you see on site economically. It's not our primary goal to make money off the digital shows, but rather to give reach to our partners who are at Gamescom. Gamescom Scotland confirmed Gamescom's home is in Cologne spin-off shows Gamescom Latam and Gamescom Asia have seen huge success in recent years, with the influential gaming event now expanding into the world's most important and influential new hubs. There's only one region that VGC believes truly deserves its own Gamescom. I'd love to open a Gamescom Scotland, but let's talk about that later, folks said. Honestly, it's not about opening Gamescom everywhere. The promise of Gamescom as a 360-degree festival is not easy to fulfill. We are happy to have found the right partners for Gamescom Asia and Gamescom Latam, and we want to grow those. The industry doesn't need a huge quantity of events. It needs the right event that fulfills its needs. Right now, our focus is on growing Asia and Latam rather than opening a new location, but you never know what the future holds. I hope they put this on you. I hope they put Gamescom and all this stuff that's going on YouTube so that way all the video gamers can watch. All right. All right, time to wrap up here, man. Time to wrap up. Um, all right. Okay, time for stream choices on the go. Let's do this. Okay, make sure you follow Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, the entertainment review show, on Facebook alongside with Bluesky Social and along with Threads and Instagram. And of course, the same goes for my other shows that I do. My sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast, and my comedy Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Avenue podcast. It's already on there. I just did I just did episode 452. It's on YouTube right now. Go check it out. And you can also follow your host with the most, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York, on Threads and Instagram. And you can also subscribe to this channel right here, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, on YouTube. Make sure you click on that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page. And if you miss any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to actually catch up. And you can also share the videos, hype the videos, tell all your friends, share it with everybody, and of course, leave a like and a comment, and share your thoughts in the comment section on the topics in this episode and previous episodes that you watched. And you can also make sure you click on that notification alerts so you don't miss out on when I'll be on the air live. So you'll be notified the next time I go on the air with new topics and new episodes of each live stream. All right. All right. That's gonna do it for me, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, rhymes with now or later. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode dedicated to the Captain America franchise movies and the TV series that has 6 episodes. I didn't have time to go over WandaVision, so I'll actually save that for another time. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. So don't let anybody stop you or tell you there's no money into something. If you're doing this for the fun of it, do it for the fun. You know what I'm saying? And find your niche and follow your goals and dreams. And if you plan on starting a podcast yourself for the first time, make sure you be yourself behind the microphone and be on your P's and Q's with your content creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right, man. And tune in next time. In the next episode, I will be talking about the Gran Turismo game franchise. All right. So tune into the next episode. Stay tuned for more new topics in the next episode whatsoever. I will be back next time in the next episode. And yeah, peace and one love. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see y'all next time. And in the words of Ken Stars, make sure you tune into Tri-State of Mind on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with Ken Stars, Linda, Ibar, and Ray on Hot 97. And in the words of Ken Stars, have a good night, everybody.